When I was super young, I didn't have money to have a couple different pair of sneakers. The community that I lived in, we always threw a Friday night dance, and I used to play basketball a lot. My basketball sneakers were all white, and I wanted to go to this dance, but I didn't want to wear my basketball sneakers. So what I did is, I colored my basketball sneakers to be a different color so I could go to the dance and be the cool guy. Then when I was at the dance, everyone was like, "Oh my God, where'd you get those sneakers?" Not knowing that they're the same sneakers that I used to play basketball in. The next day I had to go to school and I had to hoop in those sneakers, but now they're colored, so I kind of told on myself, But the cool thing about art on sneakers is creativity is always built out of necessity, in my opinion. I've been working inside of sneaker culture for so long. I was part of a team who created a big sneaker exhibition, and I realized that sneaker culture goes over so many different lanes, and art was one lane that wasn't really being paid attention to. And that's when I started to think about, how can I create something that celebrates not only sneakers, but celebrates art? And that's how MARTK'D started.
To a MARTK'D event before, you guys are in for a treat. Because this is about art on sneakers. It's about community and culture, and this is a unique experience which will keep you engaged and entertained. And
hosting is an amazing, empowering experience for me. Just being up there in the front of, whether it's 20 to 300 to 400 people, it's just this exhilarating thrill you get of being able to work a crowd and getting ready to present them with something magical. They're about to see something that they've never seen before.
Arts are getting kind of, the low end of the stick, where in schools they're cutting programs, and in universities there's not creative ways to get people involved. So last year we ran a program with MARTK'D University, which brought almost 400 young people to the school to compete as an outreach and recruitment initiative. And it was super responsive and everyone was super excited about it. Then in 2017 we decided that we're not only going to do it at MARTK'D, we're going to try to slowly bring it across Canada.
This conversation has been going on between Dion and I for, I would say, over 10 years. Dion and I have a really long relationship, and I actually remember us sitting down in Trinidad many years and having these conversations, having these type of conversations. It initially started off as, using sneakers as a mentorship program, and it grew what it grew to today. And having come here now to experience it in the flesh, it's really a remarkable one, And I would say right now we're at the end of a first stage, but it's really the beginning of a new era and a new culture.
Yes, I do. I need to grab a license registration interested too, because you didn't do your stop on your William and inspector, and there's a car north-south It's been there 2 seconds before you, so you have to let it pass.
At that point, honestly, like I wasn't really worried. Like I was so focused and had so much drive just to get into the event, to just execute it well. Like I was like, you know what? If we need to take a ticket and do whatever we need to do, like we need to get out of this. It's a rental vehicle.
It's a rental?
Yeah.
You know, if something went terribly wrong with that encounter with the officer that morning, there would be no event. And I think those are things people don't have insights on because they just see the final product and they don't understand how much work goes into making these things happen.
You're not real Canadian experience, dog. Every inch of Canada you're touching.
Everywhere you go, you have such a different culture. So you think that, you know, we did something in Toronto that's super cool, but as soon as you even go 4 hours outside of the city, they have their own culture. So being able to stay open and integrate what we've created, but also being able to be open to Ottawa has a different culture than Toronto. Montreal has a different culture than Toronto does. So like staying wide open and ready for like, the culture that we're about to go into as a brand that was created from a big city like Toronto.
There's a famous quote that says, creativity breeds courage, you know? And what these kids are doing, it takes a lot of courage because having to create in 20 minutes in front of huge crowds, it really takes courage.
There's not many, you know, programs that are out there that, you know, you can participate in and get a scholarship to a school.
We talk about intersectionality and how we can make it so diverse. Not only are we talking about art on sneakers, we're talking about all the other cultures that intersect with it at one time.
OCAD and Concordia have really, you know, backed our whole project, and the winners, and not even just the champion, but the first, the second, and the third place person get a scholarship to develop their portfolio and further their career.
You know, just sitting back and watching that, I saw the growth. You know, I saw how far we've come and just the possibilities of how far we can actually take this.
I feel so energized and so eager to take MARTK'D outside of Canada and actually bring it back to Trinidad and Tobago.
A lot of people hear sneakers and like, oh, it's a sneaker culture thing. I think now where MARTK'D is, it's bigger than just sneakers. It's about, you know, how are we going to develop culture? How are we going to, you know, connect different people who would not necessarily talk to each other? We're now giving them a platform to have a conversation and be interested or curious on. You know, like I'm from Montreal and you're from Toronto. I speak French, you speak English. What's the common denominator? Art, sneakers, like. So to me, the road trip means way more than just about, you know, connecting people through sneaker culture and art. It's really about developing a big culture where people can connect and build relationships into the future.